Hello and welcome to Blockchain Gaming World Daily with me, John Jordan. So the news we've got today is about SORARE, and it seems like it's going to announce its new funding round pretty soon. So in a sense, this isn't a massive surprise because a few weeks ago we had similar kind of rumor that SORARE was going to do a massive round. The rumor there was about $500 million, $500 million. And now it seems like as they get closer to announcing it, it's getting a bit more precise. So we've got $532 million. So let's try and put that into some sort of context, because it is an enormous sum of money. And I guess a bit like me, when these enormous sums of money for investments get floated around, we sort of lose track. Of course, is this actually big, or what does it actually mean? I think we can say this is big. this is massive, and we can try and put that into some context. So whenever a company raises money, it's basically selling off some of its equity, its stock. The stock of the company is going to the investors, and so they put a valuation on that. So the rumor is, I'm pretty sure this is going to be roughly correct, because this has been ongoing for a while. So they're saying that SORARE has raised $500 million at a valuation. So the company is now valued at $3.8 billion. So the valuation is sort of a round figure, roughly what people think, the investors think the company sort of is worth in not worth necessarily now, but will be worth in future. So we can kind of see that they probably, if I do the maths, they've had like they've taken a kind of equity as like a seventh of the equity. To kind of just do 3.8 divided by 0.5, so it's like an eighth pretty much. So this is a pretty big valuation. So often we look back at companies and see their previous valuation and their previous funding. So SORARE did raise $50 million at the start of the year, or earlier in the year, I should say. We don't know what the valuation was then. But 50, obviously there's a tenfold increase from 50 million to 500 million. So pretty substantial change. And what's also interesting is SORARE doesn't really need, I don't think, $532 million. It's a fairly small company. As I said, it's already done a 50 million raise, which is pretty substantial. It does need to do more licenses. So the big issue with SORARE is a fantasy football game on the blockchain where you own the character cards and you build teams. And then you kind of play for kind of tournament rankings, and then you win prizes, including ETH and other cards. And the big issue they have is they have pretty much everything in the world apart from the Premier League. So they have Liverpool and West Ham, a few other kind of Premier League teams, but they haven't got the Premier League as a whole. Where in other countries they've basically done deals to get the licenses for the entire league. Premier League, for whatever reason, haven't done that. Probably money. So they sort of do need some money to build out that sort of that kind of full coverage of all the footballers and all the teams in the world, and that's not expensive, but it's not $500 billion expensive. So this is generally a bet by these investors that blockchain games are going to be big, and that sort of SORARE they consider is going to be the next FIFA. So that's sort of the positioning that this small French company. I spoke to the CEO probably about a year ago now. And they were like less than 10 people then. Obviously they're bigger now, but they're still a fairly small company. This is not a company of thousands of people. But clearly people are betting this is going to be the FIFA of the next decade. We'll wait and see. Who is investing into the company? Who's done this raise? So this is kind of interesting, and this kind of gives us an idea about why the raise might be quite so aggressive. So we have Japanese company SoftBank, really well known for making very aggressive future bets. So it's pretty much the biggest VC in the world at the moment. It's raised very big sums of money from governments, actually, from kind of what we call kind of national wealth funds. And it's done some terrible investments. It did a big investment into stuff like WeWork, which lost loads of money, but it has done lots of other investments which have done really well. So it's sort of built up a kind of a business model where it really invests a lot of money into things that it feels are going to be kind of quite big disruptive successes, kind of future technology. So it's quite happy in a sense to lose lots of money, and it kind of what it does now is invest large sums. So when SoftBank gets involved, other kind of companies get involved as well, obviously. So we have Atomico, a fairly well-known European fund, nothing like as big as SoftBank or as aggressive, but they're sort of coming in. I imagine SoftBank will lead. SoftBank will give the most amount of money. Atomico will give some, and then we've got some other. It's always some other kind of investors coming in as well. So we've got some. I don't know who these other funds are. And what's interesting about at least these funds that are noted is I keep track of a lot of the stuff that's going on with the blockchain gaming investment world, and really none of these companies have been very active in blockchain gaming at all. I can't see any deals that these companies have done on my list going back a couple of years. So in a sense, I wonder if the funding is because SoftBank just does big funding anyway. That's kind of that's its business model, and also these sort of people I think maybe feel like they're been a bit left out. So they've not invested in blockchain games before. Blockchain games are clearly this big thing in terms of investing. There's almost $1 billion has gone into blockchain games in 2021 already. So I think they're feeling a little bit left out, and they want to kind of stamp their authority on the industry and say, we're big boys. We're not ignoring this. We're going to come in and do this big deal. So that's sort of interesting. What's also interesting is SORARE as a game itself is let's go and have a look at some data. Let me not waffle on. Let's go have a look at some data. So here we are on CryptoSlam, one of these sort of open data kind of websites looking at what's going on blockchain. So we can see here, this is last 24 hours. And we have SORARE here, number 6 against all these NFT projects. So Axie Infinity, miles in the lead at the moment. It's just going gangbusters. Almost $36 million worth of trading of Axie Infinity NFTs in the last 24 hours. Then we have some of the big NFT projects: Bored Ape, Yacht Club, CryptoPunks, NBA Top Shop, and SORARE's there sitting number 6. But sales wise, $400,000. So it's not nothing. It's number 6, but it's not it's not Axie Infinity at the moment. We can have a look at all-time high. So again, all-time high, looks a bit better there. So still number 6, done $54 million worth of trading from about 22,000 owners. So SORARE is currently running on the Ethereum blockchain. I imagine they're going to be moving to a layer 2 solution fairly soon, because Ethereum is just too cranky to do a big sort of mass market game. And obviously, if you're positioning yourself as the FIFA of blockchain gaming, which is what I'm saying they're positioning themselves as. I don't know if they would say that themselves, but if you're doing that, you've got to have millions of players. So you don't get $500 million just to have 20,000 players. So that's not going to work. So I imagine there's going to be a big infrastructure change here to get this up to, they want this to be 20 million in the next 10 years. So they're going to have to change that. But already, they've got a pretty hardcore fan base. They've got 20,000 people trading these cards, and they've done lifetime $54 million. So you can kind of try and do the math then. So it sort of works out what's that, $2.5 million per buyer. So you've got some pretty wealthy people who are getting involved in this. Obviously you've got some pretty unwealthy people as well. Likes of me, I've put $100 into SORARE. Not really the game for me, but they're obviously but there are at the top end some people who've put tons of money into this. And obviously that's you want to balance. You want just some kind of communal garden players who are going to put $100 in, have a good time, and people who you want people who are going to put tens of millions in. But we can say it's a project that is kind of ranks well, but it's not up here. It's not done $100 million like these top projects have done. So that's kind of, I guess, where the money is going. They see it as having potential, but they know that there is a certain a few things that have to come into place around the product, around getting these licenses, particularly the Premier League, and then scale. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there. It's great for blockchain gaming. I think it's good for SORARE as a team. They've sort of worked hard over a number of years to sort of build out what they're doing, and they've been some competitor products as well. So they've sort of overcome some competition to be sort of number one in the soccer field, and they're kind of playing into the NFT kind of boom that's going on at the moment. So well done to the SORARE team, and we'll be sort of keeping an eye on kind of how. I imagine once you get $500 million, you have to pretty aggressively go with it and start to make a splash. And I guess we'll see that World Cup next year as well. They've been doing some stuff around the Euros, but obviously World Cup is a big marketing opportunity for them. So I expect to see some of that money deployed around the World Cup next year. Anyway, thanks for watching. This is Blockchain Gaming World. We're keeping our beady eyes on what's going on in this crazy world. So please subscribe to the channel. But thanks for watching, and see you again soon.